You didn't choose the ocean chose you, and it never let go. Before the first wave broke against the first shore, before the first sailor drowned in water he couldn't name, you were already there, waiting, watching, rotting in the deep. In this journey, we will do something special. By using advanced artificial intelligence techniques, we have transformed old historical engravings and paintings into vivid, lifelike scenes. This way, you won't just listen to history, you will witness it in its closest possible form. This is not a story about a god. This is a story about a sentence handed down before you were old enough to fight it. The Lottery of Olympus. They called it a lottery. 3 brothers, 3 realms, 1 universe to divide like a loaf of bread between hungry men. Zeus drew the sky, Hades drew the underworld, and you drew the sea. Everyone applauded, everyone smiled. Nobody asked if you wanted it. You held the trident for the first time and felt its weight, not the weight of power, the weight of a leash. You were the god of everything beneath the surface and nothing above it. The sky glittered up there. You could see it from below, blurred and cold, like a memory of something you never had. Zeus built his throne on clouds. You built yours on silt and silence, the architecture of isolation. Your palace was magnificent. Coral and gold, marble columns thick as ancient trees, sea creatures circling like loyal servants who couldn't speak. But magnificent is just another word for lonely when no one comes to visit. The Olympians held their feasts above. They drank nectar in the sunlight. They laughed in a language that echoed across the heavens, and the invitation never came down far enough to reach the water. You sent waves. They sent nothing back. You learned the first lesson of the deep. Power and presence are not the same thing. You could drown entire fleets. You could split the earth with a strike of your trident, but you could not make them see you. So you raged. Because rage was the only language the surface understood. The trident and the wound. Every god has a weapon. But your trident wasn't just a weapon, it was a wound you carried in your hand. 3 prongs, 3 promises, dominion over the seas, the storms, and the earthquakes. The whole trembling world beneath the feet of men was yours, and still it wasn't enough. You shook the earth, and they called it disaster. You summoned storms, and they called it cruelty. You were the most feared god in the pantheon, and the least understood. Fear is not respect. You learned that slowly, the way all powerful things learn hard lessons, through repetition and humiliation. You tried to win a city, Athens. You drove your trident into the Acropolis rock, and salt water burst from the ground. A gift. A declaration of dominance. Athena planted an olive tree. The people chose the tree. They always chose the tree. Blood in, blood out. Olympus had rules, unwritten, absolute. You followed them not because you believed in them, but because breaking them meant war. And war meant Zeus. You watched your brothers consolidate power. You watched Zeus seduce, punish, and rule with the casual brutality of someone who had never questioned his own right to exist. You tried once. The conspiracy, Hera, Apollo, you, a revolt against Zeus, quiet and coordinated. It lasted exactly as long as Zeus allowed it to last. The punishment was labor. You built the walls of Troy with your hands. A god, laying stone like a slave. They didn't break your body, they broke something worse. They broke the part of you that still believed the system could be fair. After Troy, you understood. You weren't a free god, you were a franchise, operating under license from Olympus, permitted to exist within limits they set and could revoke at any moment. The salt cage. The ocean is infinite. That's what they tell sailors before they die in it. But infinite doesn't mean free. Your ocean was a border, not a kingdom. Every shore was a wall. Every coastline was a reminder of where your power ended and theirs began. You could not walk among men without disguise. You could not sit at the Olympian table as an equal. You could not claim what you built, what you broke, what you bled for. You had children, dozens scattered across the wine-dark sea and the dusty mainland. Cyclopes, giants, heroes twisted by the violence you poured into them. Polyphemus, blinded by a clever man with no name. You begged Zeus for justice. Zeus calculated the optics and gave you scraps. Your own son, blinded, and the best Olympus could offer was a slow wind and a longer journey home for the man who did it. That was the moment you stopped asking, you started taking. The paranoia of tides. Power without security is just anxiety with a title. You controlled the tides. You knew when every ship would sail and when it would sink, and still you couldn't sleep. The world was shifting, new gods rising at the edges, heroes getting stronger, smarter, more beloved, mortals building temples to you out of fear, not love, and you knew the difference. Fear temples go cold fast. The moment a better protector appears, the offerings stop, the prayers dry up, the name fades. You watched Odysseus navigate your wrath for 10 years and still make it home. He outsmarted you, a mortal, outsmarted a god. You weren't furious, you were terrified. Because if one mortal could endure your full rage and survive, what did that say about your power? What did that say about you? The final depth. The stories eventually stopped mentioning you. That's how gods die. Not in battle, but in silence. New religions, new gods, new storms with new names. The ocean remained, but the god of the ocean became a metaphor, then a myth, then a footnote in a textbook that students read and immediately forget. You are still there, in the pressure, in the depth, in the place where light doesn't reach and sound moves differently and everything alive is built to survive crushing weight. That's you. That was always you. Not the gold trident, not the marble palace, the pressure, the darkness, the refusal to rise. The cycle never ends. There is always a new horizon, a new hunger, a new figure standing at the shore watching the waves with eyes that want everything. And somewhere in the deep, you watch them back. You know what they don't. That the ocean doesn't give, it only takes. It took you first.